Om Sadashivasamārambām Vyasa Shankara Madhyamām Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. So before the break, we finished up to verse number 5. So verse number 5 talks about the qualities or the adhikari, the person who is supposed to be a mumukshu. So we saw some more qualities of nirmana moha, jitasanga doshaha, adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha, dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangaihi, gacchantya muda padamavyayam dhate. So again, more qualities are given there, where the person should be having nirmana moha. So manam apamanam moham should not be there. Attachment to insult or praise should not be there. Also, a person should be free from kama and krodha. So dvandve vimuktaha, opposites. Okay. And the one jidasanga dosha, means the one who has conquered the thing called attachment. So attachment is something you get attached to. Attachment means basically you get hooked onto something and you don't want to part away with that. So we have attachment towards everything. Attachment towards friends, towards son, wife, husband, daughter, properties, car. So many things we have got. So attachment is something you get used to it. So when you get used to it, you do not want to be parting away with it, because a part of it is already gone into that particular enjoyment. So you got used to that lifestyle. You do not want to surrender it. Right? So, but here it talks about the person who is supposed to jidasanga. So the person who has won over the attachment, or the person who is not depending upon the attachment, depending upon the particular pleasure. So if it is there, he will enjoy. If it is not there, he is not going to really be worried about it. So having that luxury of choosing to be on your own is important. So that is what about jidasanga doshaha. Then adhyatma nitya means the one who is focused always on adhyatma, means on the self. Nityam, adhyatma nitya. So always focused on the self, means focused on the atma, the consciousness. The sarupam of one's own self is called adhyatma nitya. And vinivritta kamaha, correct? So the one in whom desires have sort of tapered off. So you cannot say desires are no longer there. Desires are there, but the desires actually are tapered off. They are not actually really worrying. So you may have an odd desire here and there to go and do something, which is all right. So Shastram does not say that you must not have desires. It is okay to once go and meet somebody, go out, have some fun, etc. It is okay. But you are not really longing for that. You know what I'm saying? You're not longing for it. You're not waiting for the particular moment when December will come, when long holiday will come, when I will go out. This COVID is actually, putting pressure on me. I'm not able to go out. So all these kind of things like an expectation, desires, has sort of tapered out. He or she is now reconciled, very happy and enjoying the normal life. It's called vinivritta kama. Then dvandvair vimukta. So dvandaha means the pair of opposites. Sukham, dukkham, heat and cold, pleasure and pain. They are called dvandaha, means they are opposites. And vimuktaha, the person is totally free. Free means what? He is neutral. He is actually not worried about pain or pleasure. When pain comes, he takes it. Because if you've got a headache, you have to just bear it. And if you have a normal day, you also enjoy it. So you don't get unduly worried about headache, and or if you are suffering from particular phenomenon, do not get totally worried about it. Except that this part and parcel, it will come, it will go away. Nothing is permanent. See, anything a person goes through is for the prarabdha, correct? So the prarabdha is the one which makes the person undertake this particular, or changes that happen in a particular person's life. But that change or that phenomenon is not going to be permanent. It is going to go away in some, or it will change in something else. So it is not going to be a permanent one. And understanding this is the person who is talked about here, adhikari here, correct? So sukha dukkha sanyaihi. So gacchantya muda. So gacchanta amudaha means the person who is not deluded. See, mudaha means deluded. Gachanti amudaha means the people who are not deluded is talked about here. So such a person is not deluded. He is very clear in his pursuits. Right? So what does happen to the person? Padam avyayam tat. So padam means reach. And avyayam means he reaches that imperishable Brahman. Or he becomes the Brahman, or he takes ownership of his own true nature, which is called Param Avyayam Tat. Avyayam means that which is indestructible, imperishable. And so he becomes the imperishable person. So the vision of the Shastra is given here as to how a person should mold himself, or what are the qualities a person should develop. So even if you are not there, it doesn't matter. You can still develop the qualities. Okay. Then, now this verse number 6, it talks about, it's a very famous mantra, and it is chanted almost in all the Upanishads and all the, anywhere you go, this talks about this mantra. So we'll look at this mantra, we'll go to the meaning of it. Natat bhasayate suryaha, natat bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, natat bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha. Yadgatvana nivartante, yadgatvana nivartante, tadhama paramam mama, tadhama paramam mama, na tad bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, yadgatvana nivartante, tadhama paramam mama. So yad gatva, see the second line, yad gatva. So having gone to, so yad gatva, gati means destination. And having gone to the destination, to which destination? To that padam avyayam tat. So you should take the previous mantra. So having gone to that destination, or having become that Brahman. So padam avyayam tat, or taking ownership of being the Brahman, he says, na nivartante, correct? So nivartante means what? They don't come back, or you do not come back anymore. So coming back is possible only for the person who is still has got dehatma buddhi, right? The one who thinks that is still a physical body, mind, sense complex. For such a person, coming back is inevitable, because anything which is part of the physical or the panchabhutaha, they are supposed to be again returning back, right? So all the 5 elements are present in the outside, also inside us also. So as long as we think we are the physical body, we are going to come back. We are going to be, definitely we'll die this janma. There's no doubt about it. All of us, including all jnanis also, will go through. Because the physical shariram is going through. But the Shariram is available for rebirth only for the person who thinks he is a physical body. So he says, na nivartante, means having understood what Brahman is, having understood or taken ownership of who you are as Adhyatma Nitya, as the one who is the innermost self or the consciousness, such a person na nivartante. And what do they go? They go to Tad Dhama Paramam Mama. Correct? So Tad Dhama means a place. So Tat means that place. So they go to that place or they arrive at that place which is of the nature of Paramam. So Paramam means what? Nirantaram Sukham. That which is of the nature of Ananda. Nityananda Sukham Suvimalam, same. Jiva Yatra we see. Right? So Nityananda Sukham. So every Jiva is actually, they want to be happy and they are seeking for Nityanandam. So Nityan, not Anityanandam. They want Nityanandam. Correct. So they want happiness to be permanent. But the happiness is permanent. They are seeking in a place where they are, don't know, is the wrong place searching for. So if you're searching in the wrong place, you will not be able to find it. Right? But here it says here, Yad Gatvana Nivartante. So having reached the destination, na nivartante, so you do not come back, or there is no return. So return means what? You become one. See, Brahman is actually of the nature of unborn, ajaha, right? Amaraha. So when, and there is no mrityu for Brahman. So when you are not born, there is a question of you being this death. There is no death for there's no death for Brahman. So you are always there. So you become Yad Gatva Nivartante Tad Dhama Paramam Mama. So you achieve, you go to that abode. So that Dhamam means a place where you go. Okay, Paramam Mama. And how is it there, that place? He talks about the first word. Natat Bhasayate Suryaha. So in that place, there is no sun. Means Bhasayati means shining. So there is no sun shining in that place. Na Shashankaha. There is no moon also. And na Pavakaha. There is no fire. Why it is said? Because fire, moon. Moon is reflected light of the sun. Correct? Moon is reflected light of the sun. And sun itself is of the nature of, sun itself is known to you by the knower. If you as a knower is not there, present, sun also is not there available for recognition. So the sun shines after you, not before you. Only when you wake up in the morning, you see the sun comes to you in the form of light. When you close your eyes, when you go to deep sleep state, there is no sun for you, there is no moon for you, there is no stars for you. Right? So what happens in that state? Right now we are all waking state, we can see everything. You can see even the moon also, starlight, everything you can see. If you're in India, you can see sun in bright form. Right? But after some time, when you all go to sleep at that time, this manifesting world, this manifested knowledge, sun, moon, etc., they all become unmanifest. So they all go back into the same source from where it came from. And what is its source? It is Atma, the consciousness. So everything goes from manifest into unmanifest. From unmanifest again becomes manifest in the morning. So there's really nothing called destruction, nothing called creation. It's only appearance and disappearance. So appearance is through the manifestation to the upadhis. Right? So through the body, mind, sense complex, the sensory organ, sensory perception, the mind, etc., this world is being perceived as real. And the world includes this sun, moon, star, etc. also is part of the universe. Right? So all of this is part of the prapancha. But But what he says here, na tad bhasayate suryaha. So na tad means in that place, there is no sun. It means what? Sun is there for the people who think this is sun. What he says, in that world, there is no really sun because sun shines after you. So sun is really not there in terms of an object for recognition. So there is no thing called Surya praying, etc. Because you don't need to pray for Surya or anything. You yourself are the Brahman, Atma. Atma does not pray. Atma does not get punyam. Atma does not offer prasadam. They don't eat. So there's no question of you doing something great about it. So he says this is no sun. The simple meaning of this, natad bhasayate suryaha na shashankaha. So there's no sun. Because there is no Suryan, there is also no moon. Because moonlight is borrowed light from the sun. So because there's no sunlight, or sun is not there for recognition, moon also is not there for our recognition. Then, na pavakaha means there is no fire also in this. No fire. So as long as self-ignorance persists, this vision will not be clear to the person. Okay. Then, so until this, he has given, see, he gives vision here and there. This chapter is supposed to be a summary of what you have learned already so far. He's not introducing something new. It is a recollection, or you should, retrospectively should look at what I've learned before, and he's summarizing the same essence here. Then next verse, in verse 7, there could be a controversy, or Adi Shankara raises an objection. Correct? So what it says here, that everything which is known has got an arrival and an end point. Correct? Everything which is known, anything which is known has got a starting point and an end point. Correct? And he says here, Yad gatva nivartante. So there's a phrase called going. So gati means what? Going. So after going to the destination, so the question is there really a thing called going? Is there a transportation? Are you going somewhere? Like, the literal meaning of somebody says, you are saying yad gatva. So gatva means what? There is a mechanism for moving. So are we going to go somewhere? Correct. Na nivartante. So they don't come back. So why does it say that you are going and not coming back? So is there really some transportation involved? Correct. So see, most of the shastras which we talk about is say, you go to Bhuloka, you will go to Vishnu Loka, you will travel there, you will go there. Okay. So really, is somebody going there? And how does the person go there? What form does it go there? It will bring all sorts of confusion, correct? So the objection is not raised by Adi Shankara. He thinks that people will read this verse in a literal manner. So he introduces in the next verse some elaborate commentary on what it means. Right. So the first line, we read this, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutas Sanatanaha, Jiva Bhutas Sanatanaha, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutas Sanatanaha. So let's see the first line, then we go to the next line later. So, Mama Amshaha. So, my Amshaha. Mama means mine. And Amshaha means a part. So remember Purusha Suktam, Tripadasyamridham Divi. So 3 parts of this is unmanifest. Only one part is manifest. Tripadasyamridham Divi, Tripat Urdhva Udhait Purushaha. Correct? So same thing is talked about here. 3/4 of what it is there is actually not even manifest. Only one third, one portion is manifest. 1/4 is manifest here. Correct? What does it mean? It means that there is one part of me in this universe. Other 3 parts are actually not part of the universe. So they are as unmanifest. Correct? Which is what we see, because there are so many things which are discovering, science is discovering. See, Vedanta says that he says what? There are still parts to be explored which is already there. We already know about it. We do not need to know about those things because knowing those things is not going to bring any more knowledge. Right? If you're going to find another star, what are you going to do about it? As a Vedanti, what does it add value? If you got 10 stars or 20 stars, what difference does it make to you? It doesn't make any difference in Atma Jnanam. Correct. One star itself, you know, yes, there's a star there. If you say, oh, there's a new star which is found, and this is very, very, people can go and live there. But I don't want to go and live there. Because you already declared that what? You already, that Brahman, you don't want to go there. So what is the question of you interested in the science? So Vedanta says, okay, so you can discover what you want to do. You can discover, you can write what you want to do about it. We are not really worried about what you're writing because he is very relaxed. Right? That's why it says here. And Amshaha, where? Jiva Lokaha. So in this world of living beings, there is my Amshaha. Right? So Amshaha means a fraction. Okay? So the one who has become, and how is he? Jiva Bhutaha. So the Amshaha is talks about here as living as Jiva Bhuta. Means the living Jiva, as all the Jivas which are there. Who is Jiva? The Jiva is a person who is with the body maintenance complex. It's called Jiva. Right? So in reality, there's no Jiva at all. So he says here, I am present for the people who do not know me, my true nature as Jiva. So I am present in all of you, all of the Jivas as the essence. So my one part is present here, Amshaha. And how is it? Is Sanatanaha, is eternal. So it is not that like this, 100 years if you live, and after that, the Bhagavan goes somewhere else and he brings some other Jiva into the picture. No. The same Jiva continues to evolve. The Jiva continues to evolve depending upon one's prarabdha karma and sanchita karma. Correct? What all karma one has accumulated, the Jiva continues to evolve, continues to be born again and again, goes through the cycle of samsara. So he says that's why eternal. Samsara is eternal for the Jiva. Right? If you are Jiva, samsara is eternal. Samsara is not wife. Samsaraha means this endless cycle of transmigration is called samsaraha. It is always there. So there is no respite for us. That is why he says eternal. Right? So mamai amshaha jiva lokaha jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Right? So, but the question may have is, the Lord itself is complete. So why the Bhagavan is saying here as Amshaha, 3/4, etc. Why is he saying this? See, question may arise. See, there are 2 questions. See, a person who is studying Shastram will have. See, somewhere it says that Yad Gatva Nivartante, Tad Dhama Paramamama, and Nivartante. So I go there. I come back. I don't come back. So there's some going and coming back involved. I don't know what it is. So some clarification is required to be known. Correct? Then he says in this verse, Mamai Vamshaha Jiva Lokaha. So my Amsha is there. Right? So he says again, Bhagavan is supposed to be complete. You are the whole. Right? So when you say consciousness is one principle, it cannot have parts. Correct? Advitiyam, Advayam, non-dual. They say Then where is the question of this Amsha have been discussed? Right? So this is the doubt he has got. And what it says here, the Adi Shankara says here is, the Jiva Lokaha is what is experienced by a Jiva. Okay. It is not the world of Jivas, but the world of a Jiva. Remember this. It is not the world of the Jivas. It is the world of a particular Jiva. So what it means is that a Jiva lives in a particular cocoon. He lives in his own, comfort zone. Right? So even though he may not have studied the Veda, etc., he may be doing Vedic karma. See, a Jiva has got different types of Jivas. One is completely Ajnanam is there. Jiva is there. And there are people who do not know anything at all. If you go and ask them what is Veda, what is Veda? I don't even know what is Veda. Bhagavad Gita, I don't even know what is Tirukkural, no. Upanishad, what are you talking about? I don't know. But you talk about Robert Ludlum, or something, some books, something they will know. Oh, yes, that book is very good. Movies, they all know very well. Because they are interested in that particular field of science, of art. So there are Jivas of that type. Correct? And there are also Jivas who are Vaidikas. So some people who are Vaidikas mean they do Vedic karmas. They are ritualistic people who do. They are also Jivas. Right? If you go and talk to them, Atma, etc., they will say Atmana and Gunadriya, sir. See, I'm a simple person. I do my Nitya karmas, my Nitya karmas, Sandhyanam I do 3 times a day, and I do all these things. I may know Atma what it is, but I'm not interested in studying Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad, the Bhasham, etc. He will be clear, correct? So he is nevertheless ignorant of the self, correct? He is ignorant of the self. So there are people who are of the nature of ignorant, completely ignorant people, partially ignorant people, and also knowledgeable people, right? Little bit. But all of them have got the experience of enjoyership and doership. They all belong to, I'm a doer, I'm an enjoyer. This is the Jiva. So every Jiva has got the habit of saying that I'm in this world, I'm doing this karma, I'm enjoying these benefits. This is what it is. So this is what it talks about here as I'm present in these people in this manner. So he's also present as Amshaha in ignorant people. He's present as Amshaha in the partly awareness people. Also, he's also present in fully awareness people also. Correct? So it's just a reflection. So the Amshaha when he talks about here, he's not saying that he's present as one way, it's a reflection. So he is present as a reflection of one's own. He multiplies himself as reflected. If you go to the mirror, right? And if you go to, the Jaipur, or I think there's a Sheesh Mahal, is it Sheesh Mahal? In Jaipur, there's Sheesh Mahal there, the palace there. And if you stand in the middle, there are thousands of, the glass itself, the whole the minute glasses are there. And you will see your own image in thousands of places. It's a reflection of your own self in the mirror, which is there, correct? Same way here says, Bhagavan says here, I am only one. But I am present as a reflection in all the jivas, correct? So that's what he means by saying, Mamai Vamshaha Jiva, Amshaha Jiva Loka. So Amshaha means he's not saying that I'm part. So he's not divided. Okay. So the clarification given by him is that one must not understand that Bhagavan is split into so many things. Bhagavan is not split into so many things. It is a reflection of his own Swarupam being seen in different jivas. Right? That's what is clarified here. Right? So it is like one sun reflected in 1,000 pots of water. So if you have hundreds of pots of water kept in the open sun, and one sun is reflected in hundreds of pots, correct? Can we say that there are 100 suns or one sun? Only one sun, correct? So only one sun is reflected in the thousands of pots because of the reflecting medium. And the reflecting medium is what? The jivas. That's what it says here. Mamai amshaha jiva lokaha. So the jiva loka means this universe. And how it jiva bhuta sanatanaha. So I am always present in them as the reflection in them. So I'm reflected in each of the person as one like this. Right? It doesn't mean that if there are 1.2 billion people in India, you cannot say there are 1.2 billion Bhagavan present there. There's only one Bhagavan, one essence present, one consciousness present, but it is present as the reflection of the same oneness principle, so many people. So that is what he wanted to clarify. So, because when you read the verse, it makes it like this. Mamai vamsho jiva loke. So there is some amsha, some part is there. So there's no part, there's only reflection. That's what it clarifies here. Right? Then, the second line, manashashtanindriyani, manashashtanindriyani, prakrtistani karshati, manashashtanindriyani, prakrtistani karshati. Then number 8 also you take it together, 7 and 8 are together. So the second line of verse number 7 and the verse number 8 are to be seen together. Right? Shariram yadavapnoti, Shariram yadavapnoti, Yachapyutkramatishvaraha, Yachapyutkramatishvaraha, Shariram yadavapnoti, Yachapyutkramatishvaraha, Grihit vaitani sanyati, Grihit vaitani sanyati, Vayurgandhani vashayat, Vayurgandhani vashayat, Shariram yadavapnoti, Yachapyutkramatishvaraha, Grihit vaitani sanyati, Vayurgandhani vashayat. So what it says here is, see, Shariram yad apnoti yachap utkramat Ishvaraha. So Ishvaraha is the one who rules the body, right? So Ishvaraha is the one who rules the body, or the one who is present as the indweller in the body. Right? And when Shariram Utkramati, so Shariram means the physical body, Utkramati means departs. So when the one who is present inside, the essence is present, the Ishvara itself departs the physical body. Then it talks about verse numbers, if you go back to the previous line, second line, Prakrtistani karshati. So Prakriti means what? Again, nature, correct? So Prakriti he means all the 5 elements which is there called Prakriti, all the elements which is called Prakriti, correct? So, and Manaha Shashtani Indriyani. So mind, then Shashtaha, the 5 sense organs, with the mind as the 6th. So 5 sense organs, mind, Shashtaha, correct? So Mana Shashta Indriyani. Indriyani means what? All the Indriyams, correct? And Prakrtistani, correct? They all So these things they obtain in the physical body. So the 5 sensory powers, organs, the manaha, they are obtaining in the physical body. Prakritistani. Then utkramati. So when the sharidam, when they leave this physical body, what happens? Shariram yada apnoti. So the new body is taken. So again, a new body is born. So it is not that, when the sensory powers are all gone, it is that there's no more existence. No. That is why when a person passes away, why do we do this 13th Antyeshti we do? If you really watch carefully, the first day to 13th day, there are different rituals we do, right? And the 13th day culmination is the one where you do the final rites. And that is a time when the pindam which you offer. I hope some people will know about this, right? So you offer pindam to the with ellu and rice and everything offer, correct? Offer them. The body when it's cremated, the sukshma shariram is still active because the vasanas are still there. So it has to take some other form, because whatever is there, the vasanas are, the desires are there, it is not extinguished because still there is something is there we accomplished. So nobody else can go and finish that. If you got some unfinished desires, unfinished jobs, unfinished something which you got there, and you depart halfway through that one, then those things, unfinished ones which are there, they all are the one which will give you rise to a new body. That's what it says here, that sharidam with apnoti. So he obtains a new body, correct? So it gives example here. Vayur gandaha nivashaya. See, just as the wind takes this smell. See, if you got a smell, the wind actually carries the odor, correct? Do you see the odor actually being transmitted? You do not see. But you can know that there is an odor being transmitted, correct? Somewhere there's a fire, somewhere there is some beautiful, some smell is coming there. So the air actually is a transporter. So the air transports the gandaha. The same way, this physical body also goes through the same process. All these sukshma shariram, they all bound like a packet, and it is taken to another, and then it is reborn in another form. Right? So what it says is, definitely there is rebirth for the person. Definitely there is rebirth for the person who thinks he is a physical body, or who has passed away halfway without gaining jnanam, full jnanam, purna jnanam. Ardha jnanam means what? Half knowledge is there, right? So half knowledge means you have to complete the full knowledge. And nobody else can complete it for you. You cannot say that I'm appointing a proxy. See, when you're about to pass away, you cannot say that, see, sir, I only done Bhagavad Gita only up to chapter 14. So I think I'm taking a break, I'm going to go. So this person is going to complete chapter 15 to chapter 18. No. You will have to come back and finish chapter 15 to chapter 18 yourself. Nobody else can complete for you because you are in it for yourself. You are not studying for somebody else. You should tell me, or see, Bhagavad Gita now on the Avarka Padikana. It is like, when Valmiki also was a robber, right? So before he became a Rishi, he was a robber. So when he used to be a hunter, he used to just, snatch people's ornaments, etc. And then he used to go and feed his wife, family. So the family did not know what he is doing. He thinks what he's doing is right. So one day Narada comes and he says, why are you doing this Papa Karma? He says, no, I'm not doing any papa karma. This is my right. So I do not do any other job. So my job is to steal and I keep my family happy. My family is very happy. But he says, you are doing papam, you are accumulating papam. You will be given, you will not be having good birth next Janma. He said, no. He said, my family also is enjoying. So they also got share in the papam which I'm doing. He says, go and ask them. He says, you go and ask your wife that whatever money I'm getting from all this, ill deeds, would you be part of that or not? So he goes and asks his wife. He says, look, I've been feeding you guys all these things and I want you to take equal share of all my ill deeds so that my problem is reduced and you also get the same amount of treatment. The wife says, no, I do not have anything to do with this. It is your prarabdha, your problem that you're doing this. I do not want to be any part of this anything at all. So what does he do? The Narada, he comes back to Narada, he's waiting there. He says, what is the answer? So they are all saying that they don't have anything to do with this. So now you got the answer. So if you do any papa karma, you have to go and enjoy it. You have to be your own self. So how do I do this? He says, you pray to Lord Rama. He says, so he says, you pray there and one day you will get jnanam and Bhagavan will come. So he starts to pray, meditate, and it becomes, your ant, etc. goes over him and big handtail comes. Finally, he writes the Ramayana after that. So what it says is he has to write the Ramayana to get himself purified. So what it says here is that anyone who thinks that he or she is going to be finished with this janma, no. As long as the person thinks that his physical body and he or she desires to be yet to be completed, things to be job to be completed, unfinished business, that person will come back. That's what it says. How? Just as the wind, Vayur Gandha Nivashaya, just as Vayu takes the smell without even knowing. You do not see the smell coming from anywhere. You don't see, but you can feel it. Right? Same way, it is so subtle. So when he moves to the new body, he takes everything with himself. Because so the different pindam you offer every day, it actually the 13th day, the body is already born. He's already got a new birth. It is waiting for it to be. It's already probably born in another womb, somewhere in some other fetus. That is why all the pindam which you offer is actually consumed. The mantras are chanted for it to be given a form so that it is actually transported. Because the old saying, is only for people who are interested. Okay, we are not interested in this. For people who want a story that what happens to this 13th day, this is the story is given. The story is given that whatever pindam you are offering is consumed by this form, and it is taken along with this. It's evolving, and it's hungry every day. Just like we eat every day, it also eats every day. And it is taken that form and becomes born in another form. Same thing says here that Shariram yad avapnoti yachat utkramat Ishwaraha. So Ishwaraha means when the essence, the prana in the body leaves, it takes it along with it all the subtle elements, subtlest vasanas, desires, unfinished jobs, unfinished desires, everything which is there. It is taken as a package and it is transported to another birth, another body, suitable for it to fruition. So if you have not completed anything in the janma, you would be born in another janma to complete it. See, all of us here, why do you think we are interested in studying this? There are so many people are there. So many people are there who are born. So many people are there who have got Bhagavad Gita book at home. Everybody has got, somebody will say, I got all the books. They show library also. Extreme collection with them. But have you read the book? No, sir. I am not interested in reading this book. I'd like to collect. I'd like to see all the library full of books are. But they're not, because they are not eligible. Because that vasana has not come to them. So something is, So it is like something is left behind and you are carrying. So all of us are actually carrying forward from previous Janma. Right? And we are studying this Shastram or this path because there is something which has been left behind in the past. And we have taken some form, some physical, some other body in some other form, born in another family, suitable for us to support. You could also been born in some other family like Vedar Kulam, somebody who is actually, a robber, where there is no chance for reading Bhagavad Gita. But we are all born in a Vaidika family. We are all born in a family which is conducive for supporting, for learning. So there is some truth in this, right? So the way we have a physical body means that we have been there before as a physical body. Right? That's what it says here, that just as the wind takes the smell and you do not see the smell at all, same way the vasanas of the previous janma are taken and it is given the new body for it to succeed next life and then continue its journey. Right? That's what it says here. Then in verse 9 continues the story. Okay. Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha. Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha. Rasanam granameva cha. Rasanam granameva cha. Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha. Rasanam granameva cha. Adhishtaya manaschayam. Adhishtaya manaschayam. Vishayan upasevate. Vishayan upasevate. Shrotram chakshusparshanam cha. Rasanam granameva cha. Adhishtaya manaschayam. Vishayan upasevate. So now the physical body is born. Okay. So it is already taken up. Vayur gandha nivashayat. So sharidam yad avapnoti. So sharidam also is born again. Now the sharidam does not get born alone. It comes with the full set of all accessories. Right? What are the accessories? Shrotram, ear. Chakshuhu, eyes. Sparshanam, touch. Rasanam, the sense of taste. And Granam evacha, the sense of smell. So sense of smell. And manaha, and also the mind. So having all these things, adhishtanam means presiding over. Adhishtayam, this person, I am. Adhishtanam, I am. Vishayan upasevate. So he is now presiding or is actually enjoying the objects, enjoying the experience. So what do you do with all these sensory objects, sensory powers? With the ears, you enjoy. With the smell, you enjoy. Touch, you enjoy. Correct? Taste, you enjoy. Eyes, ears, everything. So all the mind also enjoy. So all of them are born. And all of them together constitute an experience. Correct? And really speaking, who is he? He has already told before that Mamai Vam Shaha Jiva Lokaha and Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. So Sanatana means whatever. So even though you were born the previous Janma, he was also part of it. Now, when you are taken a new body and you have got a new, Kula, Gotram, etc., he's still part of you because he's Sanatana. He's always eternal. So Bhagavan is actually eternal and Jiva is actually evolving every Janma. So what we should be, we should know. We should be the Bhagavan consciousness or we should be the Jiva, we should decide. If you want us to be the consciousness, then we don't have to worry about all this Vayur, Gandha, Nivasha, etc. We don't need to worry about it. But if we think that we are not ready, some people say, see, I'm not ready yet. So I'm prepared to take one more janma, maybe 2 more janmas. So they will also tell you very clearly. See, minji pona oru janma irukum, அடுத்த janma irukkalam. அப்படினு சொல்லுவா. I don't know how they say. Some people they say, வேண்டாம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. See, மிஞ்சி போனா ஒரு ஜென்மா இருக்கும் சார் எனக்கு. இல்ல அடுத்த ஜென்மா இருக்கலாம். 2 ஜென்மத்துல முடிச்சிடுவேன் அப்படியே. எப்படி சார்? How can you take 2 ஜென்மாஸ்? Nobody knows. This janma itself we do not know. Tomorrow also we do not know. How do you say that 1 janma is enough, 2 janma is enough? Some people say to me also that they have been told there's no janma. எப்படின்னா, I have been told. I had been told by somebody that there's no janma for you. எப்படின்னா, அதெல்லாம் தெரியாது சார். Don't ask me too many questions. I have been told that I have no janma because I am already free. எப்படி ஃப்ரீனா, they will not be able to explain. This is also another problem. You will find this kind of, all these people will be there. You will meet people who are got extreme, strong experience, miracle experience. They would have met somebody or the other and they would have told somebody that, sir, if I tell you tomorrow, see, there is no rebirth for you. If I tell you this, if you accept my word as a face value without analyzing why I am saying this, then it will become more like, you are trusting me blindly. And you must not trust anybody blindly. You must understand why I am saying this. Correct? If I am saying that you are ajaha, you are unborn, or you do not have a birth, why? Because you are not the physical body. You are the consciousness Param Brahma, and which is source of the physical body itself. That way, if you understand, then you can recollect the fact, you can reconcile to the fact that you do not have janma. But if I just tell you, tomorrow you don't have any rebirth at all, I am telling you this, and you blindly follow, then it's a cult. You know what is a cult, right? So cult means you just follow blindly without knowing why you are following. You are following because you have got blind faith in somebody and that person is supposed to take care of you. Shastram and Guru is not like this. Correct? Because Guru will not say something just like that. The student doesn't ask questions, then, there's something that the should ask question. The student should be inquisitive, should know why like this, why I am not the physical body, why I am the Atma, why I am the consciousness. Correct? So that is why this Atma Vichar is important. Self-inquiry is important. Without self-inquiry, without this, it is not possible for Atma Jnana. So Mumukshuhu is what? I want to be free. So I want to be free means what should I do to be free? Or what should I know to be free has to be inquired and should be consistently be inquired. That is the role of the moksha. So sotram sakshu sparshanam cha rasanam ghranam eva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Then verse 10 and 11, we'll take it together. Okay. Utkramantam stitam vapi. Utkramantam stitam vapi. Bhunjanam va gunanvitam. Bhunjanan va gunanvitam. Utkramantam stitam vapi. Bhunjanan va gunanvitam. Vimudhananupashyanti. Vimudhananupashyanti. Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Utkramantam stitam vapi. Bhunjanam va gunanvitam. Vimudhananupashyanti. Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So, Utkramantam, see the previous word, Utkarshati, correct? So, same Utkramantam means the one who is departing from the body, or Stitam Vapi, Stitam Va Api. See, Va means or. Stitam means or, remaining in this body. So, the one who is departing from the physical body, the one is remaining in the physical body. How is he? Gunanvitam. So gunaha. So he's endowed with the gunas, correct? Or bunjanam. See, bunjitaha means enjoying. So bunjanam means experiencing or enjoying. So the one who is experiencing or enjoying in the physical body with the gunas, or the one who is departing the physical body, correct? Those people are called vimudaha. So they are called vimudaha, means they are deluded people. So the people who are experiencing the gunas, the physical body, or the people who are saying that they're departing from physical body, they are called vimudaha, they are called na anupashyanti. So they are not able to see this clearly, right? Because they do not have the vision. They have the vision that they are the physical body, and they have the vision that they are subject to gunas. And because they are bound by the gunas, they are bound by the divisions, Sattva guna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna, they are not able to see the truth, whether they're living or when they are leaving the body. See this. See, while living also, people cannot see the truth. When they depart also, what they think, oh my God, I'm leaving this world. I'm leaving my wife, my children, my property, my car, my bungalow, my bill, everything I'm leaving there. So he goes with those gunas only, correct? Out of this guna, they are all gunas only. Sattva guna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna. What is this? They are all attributes, right? They are governed with objects. So he says the people who are leaving the physical body with that thought, or the people living in the physical body currently with the thought, they are both called mudaha. Why? Because they are not aware about their own true nature. So vimudaha na anupashyanti. They will never be able to see the truth because they are still engrossed in the objective world. They are still engrossed in the world of gunas, of divisions. So they will never be able to see. Who can see? Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. The people who are wise people who has got jnana chakshuhu, means the eyes, the vision of the shastra. So jnana chakshuhu means what? Shastra's vision. So shastra vision means what? Shastram says what? You are not a physical body. It says that's the vision. So if you are able to have the vision, correct? See, even if you look at the Vishwarupa Darshanam also, Bhagavan Krishna says that you really cannot see me with this naked eye. You can only see my form in this manner, but I am not this form what you see. So Arjuna says, I want to see your real form. So he shows his Vishwarupa Darshanam as the one which has got multiple amount of form, multiple heads, thousands of head, people coming and going, all Kala, sun, moon, star, everything is there. Even then, Arjuna is still seeing them as objects only. He is counting objects. Even though Bhagavan tells him that this whole universe is mine, everything is in this is me, correct? But what does Arjuna see? Even given Jnana Chakshu also, he still uses the same buddhi. And he still says, oh my God, you are like this, so many, Shishiro Mukam, thousands of heads, thousands of, tongue. And I can see people are getting crushed, right? I'm very afraid of all these things. Why? Because he sees the form as physical form. So, despite giving Jnana Chakshuhu, also a person can be deluded if he doesn't approach the right, doesn't use the right intellect. Right? So, Shastram Padicha Matram Purada. Shastram Padicha, Shastra vision apply panam. Correct. You have to live the Shastram, you have to live the vision of the Shastram. Just by reading some Shastram, some Bhagavad Gita, etc., and become proficient in chanting a few verses here and there, and what do you call? They call Nudinak Shastra. So tongue. So they have Shastram at their. That is not what it is. You got to be living the vision of Shastra. You got to be living the life of the Shastra. And you must be benefiting other people of the vision which you got. That is what called Jnana Chakshuhu. And who are these people? Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha. So the people who have got this vision can only see the truth. The people who cannot see the truth are the people who are departing the physical body with already their divisions. Or the people who are living currently in the physical body with the gunas. These two people are classified as vimudaha. Na anupashyanti. They can never see the truth. But pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So the point you're saying is, death is not going to solve the problem of the jiva. So there's a common misconception that if I die, all my problems will be solved. No. It's a shortcut method. People say, see now, poita onno prachane irukade. No. Ninga poita prachane irukade, that's what you think. But it is going to come in some other form. So it is not going to be the end of the whole thing. For that particular momentary thing, you are free. Right? But you will be reborn in another manner and you will again undergo the same thing. Right? So, that's what Shastram says here, that whether you give this physical body or live in the physical body, if you don't have the Shastra's vision, you will be a deluded person. You will continue to be an ignorant person. That's what it says here. So in verse number 11, the Acharya actually tells about the wise people who have been taught like this. Right? So the people who are making effort and whose minds are not mature enough, still they can achieve if they're making the right effort. Correct? So it gives two different visions. First line talks about yoginaha, correct? In fact, this reminds me of the Jivayatra verse because the Jivayatra was also praptum samiha yutaha, means sarve janma bhrita sada vyasaninaha. So sarve janma means what? All the jivas here is sada vyasaninaha, means they're constantly making effort. So they're not making effort. Nobody says, sir, I'm making effort. Every day I'm getting in the morning, I'm doing something for the other. I'm making effort. I'm studying my best. I'm doing everything what I can. But I'm not able to get moksha. Moksha is what they're saying is what? Because they're searching in the wrong place. Same thing said here. Yatanto yoginaschainam. Yatanto yoginaschainam. Pashyant atmanyavastitam. Pashyantyatmanyavastitam. Yatanto yoginaschainam. Pashyantyatmanyavastitam. Yatanto pyakritatmanaha. Yatanto pyakritamanaha. Nainam pashyanta chetasaha. Nainam pashyanta chetasaha. So I'll give you the meaning of this verse, the literal meaning, and I'll actually give you the unfolding of the verse next class. Okay. So first is called yatantaha yoginaha, means yogi means what? The people who are making the effort, okay, or putting effort, correct? And what is it says here? Atmani avastitam. So Atmani means what? In the buddhi. Atmani avastitam, residing in the buddhi. Yenam. See, yenam means this Atma. They see, pashyanti. Correct? So who is the people who can see? The people who are making effort. The people who are making effort in what? In seeing the Atma in one's own self, or making the right effort in understanding the vision of the Shastra. They are the people who can see. See, they may not see now. So you cannot say that, oh, I studied Bhagavad Gita once, so now I can see the Atma. No. Eventually, see, it means what you are making effort. It may take you 3-4 times to study also, Shastram also. So just by reading one course of Bhagavad Gita, you will not be able to make out everything. You will know something at least. Definitely you know better than other people. Oh, there is something like this. So you need more clarity. You have to do all the other classes also. Like, the Upanishad, etc. Give more clarity. Because up doubt varo. Some other cloud will come and then you will begin confused. And you will try to look for a solution in that you will not be able to find it. See, it is like, if you study some subject, textbook la kuduchadu matrum padicha padikka mudiyadhu, correct? See, syllabus la kudutha, see, sir, I studied syllabus, sir, but syllabus villa vanda ana answer panna mudiyadhu. Appadi eppadi panna mudiyum? So you'll have to research what in and around, correct? So you'll have to research something related to that reference la padikkanum, or some bibliography is given there, or something else is given there, some third references. You have to study those things to make sure that you covered the whole circle. So if anything comes in the area, you're supposed to cover it, If you study only this, it gives you perspective only from this point of view. You need to complement it by other aspects to make it more foolproof, correct? That's what it says here. So, yatantaha means, see, yatan means what? Yatanam means effort, correct? Yatanam, prayattanam. Yatanam means effort. And who is the yoginaha? The yogis who make the effort. So yogis are supposed to be disciplined people. Yogi. So yoga means a discipline. And yogi means a person who follows a discipline. It can be karma yoga, it can be jnana yoga, it can be bhakti yoga, whichever yoga you're following, ashtanga yoga, whichever is there, he's making effort. But effort is in the right direction, and what? Yenam pashyant atmanyavastitam. So in this way, the person makes the effort to see in one's own self the Atma, and in everybody else the same Atma being there. Atmani avastitam. It is not that, sir, apdilla sir, enakkenna Atma puriyum sir. Our Atma na puriyadu appadinga. Some people say this. See, if you ask me, I am the Atma, yes, I can understand. But our Atma na puriyadu appadinga. This is a problem also. See, if you ask, do you see Sridhar is Atma? Yes, sir. Our Sridhar is Atma. He is also Atma. How can I accept him as Atma? Because I am the Atma. How can he? I don't know what Atma is there or not. But he says that he is also the Atma. Everybody here is the Atma. Everyone here is the consciousness. Because what he says, what? Mamai vamshaha jiva lokaha. So I am present in all the jivas as this amshaha, as reflection. So I'm present in every one of us as the same essence in every one of us. So this is what is referred here, what? Yatanto yoginas chainam atma pashyan atmanya avastitam. So the person who dwells upon this truth, always consistently, he is a person who is able to see this, right? Pashyanti. So pashyanti means sees. It means you cannot see the Atma. He understands. So you cannot tell somebody that I see the Atma in you, sir. It is, you cannot even talk about the Atma because Atma is not an object of knowledge. It is only to be understood. Right? So such a person is talks about here. Then, yatanto api kritatmanaha nainam pashyanta chetasaha. So, those people who make effort, yatantaha api kritatmanaha. So they make effort by doing all karmas, actions, doing everyday japam, 4 hours puja, all these things they do. Na enam. So nainam means what? Na enam. This Atma, they cannot pashyanti achetasaha. They will not be able to see this. Because they are making effort in the wrong direction. They are all putting effort. but putting effort for what? In the wrong direction. So the effort should be in the right direction. So we'll get this meaning more clear next time. But you'll see that this relates to the same effort we talked about Jiva Yatra. Right? So there also what the author says, that everybody is making effort. No single Jiva is saying that I am not making effort. Everybody wants to be free. Nityananda Sukham Svimalam Praptum Samihayutaha. Correct? Sarve Janna Brita Sada Vesarinaha Tat Sammarga Sammarghane. Correct? But still, they are not able to make the truth. They are not able to achieve. Still, they are searching. Correct? So they are still searching, they're still continuing, they'll continue to do because their search is in the wrong direction, the effort is in the wrong direction. That's what it says here. The first line talks about the jnani, the wise people who are making effort. The second line talks about the people who are making effort, but not the right effort. So both are making effort. Right? Very important. So we'll get the actual meaning unfolded in the next class. Any questions from today's class? Anyone has got anything any doubts? Have you got anything? Gopalji, you're okay? All clear? I remember Gopalji when I first met him many years ago. I think somewhere in the coffee shop, right? Somewhere we discussed about this. And he told, I read the Bhagavad Gita, I bought the book. And he could understand, because now when you understand the Bhagavad Gita at this level, you'll be able to read it very clearly. Like you will understand better. So what it means is that you need the right method is important, approach is important, consistently you are making effort is important. Correct? That's what I say yatantaha. Means yatanam is important, effort is important, and consistently right effort is important. So if we are on the right track, we'll all get there. So we don't have to worry about it. We'll get there eventually. One day we'll get there. All okay, Radhaji? All questions are okay?
Yeah, fine, Ji. Thank you.
So we stop the class here. And on Monday we don't have any class because Monday class got to move to Tuesday. So Tuesday we are starting a new Tamil class called Tattvabodha in Tamil. So because my teacher told me to start in Tamil. So I said, she told me to do this, so I will do that. So Tattvabodham will be taught in Tamil. After that will be Bhagavad Gita will also be taught in Tamil in that class. So
எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் டைம் கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுங்க இன்னைக்கு டுடே.
இல்ல பரவாயில்லமா ஜெயமா, நீங்க இல்ல இன்னைக்கு இந்த 7:45 இல்லையா இன்னைக்கு? நீங்க வாங்க, டியூஸ்டே அன்னைக்கு அந்த கிளாஸ் இருக்கு, அது முடிஞ்சா வாங்க. அது 6 o'clock டைம் ஜெயமா, 6 o'clock ஈவினிங்.
எங்களுக்கு 2 o'clockங்க.
நீங்க இந்தியால இருக்கல நீங்க? ஆமா, நீங்க உங்களுக்கு 4.5 hours difference இல்லையா? 4.5 5.5 hours.
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours இல்லையா? 6 மணினா உங்களுக்கு 1:30 மணி இருக்கு இல்லையா உங்களுக்கு?
1:30 மணி.
இல்ல
1:30 மணி.
12:30.
12:30 இல்லையா?
ஓகே.
பார்க்கலாம். Himaji, you're okay, right? Purnamadah Purnamidam Bhutat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadh Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Namaste. Shubhratri to all of you. Hari Om.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ji.